this is an awesome opportunity. I am really, really excited about listing here, so hopefully I do my best at describing that to you today. So as I mentioned, Listing Near was founded by my husband and myself. Brian, he has over 10 years of professional experience in software development, and he is our principal developer, and like I said, the brain of Listing Near. So he created the software that we have from like the very infant stages to what it is today. I have a lot of experience in customer service, over 7 years. I also have my master's in human-computer interaction, which basically deals with things like user experience and building user interfaces that are functional for people. And I am in charge of our design, and I'm also in charge of managing our small team of employees, and basically doing whatever else needs to be done at this point, honestly. So I just want to tell you a little bit about our story and kind of how we got to where we are today. So in 2014, I'm putting these pictures up, which they may not mean anything to you, but I'll explain. That is the last picture I took when we were leaving Chicago in our moving truck, and that is the first picture I took when we arrived in South Bend. It was raining and it was dark, and I was wondering what on earth we were doing here. So we moved here to be closer to family, and we didn't really know what the future held for us in terms of some of our business ideas. We always envisioned that someday we would build something ourselves. We both are very entrepreneurial minded, and we both had a lot of interest in also providing employment for other people and being able to kind of build up a community around us, kind of a lot of very ethereal aspirations, I guess, but to me especially, those were things that were really important that we would eventually one day be able to do. Just didn't exactly know how that would happen. So then in 2015, we both finished our master's programs through DePaul University in Chicago. We both were able to finish them long distance. So that's a picture of Brian and I at our graduation. That was kind of fun to graduate together. And then right around the same time, we were kind of thinking about different ways that we could potentially grow a business. And my first idea was, if I can do design and you can do programming and I like to talk to people, why don't we just try consulting? You know, we could try just making websites for people, or if they need like a small piece of software developed and they don't know how to do it, maybe we can try that. So we put an ad up on Craigslist, and we were just looking for people. Didn't really get a whole lot of traction with the Craigslist ad, but it gave us enough of a focus to be able to look for some kind of startup type idea that was already on Craigslist. So we ended up finding a guy that already had some backing, some funding behind him, and he really needed a developer, and he really needed someone to design the software. So we connected with him and got started doing that. So that was in 2015. Basically, I did some of the design work, and then I kind of stepped away. We had our first daughter, so I wasn't super involved in that process. But Brian started working full-time for this startup between 2015 and 2016. I guess it would have been the very end of 2015 when it was just obvious that it wasn't going to go anywhere for various reasons, but a great learning tool, great experience, and a great way for Brian to kind of envision what could be next for something like this. So that e-commerce startup idea was very similar to what we're doing now, which I'll talk through. I know Amy already mentioned what we do, but so in 2016 was really about, okay, so why did that startup fail, and what exactly do we need to do to make it succeed? Brian really believed that the software was valuable. He really believed that the market was there. It just had to be presented to the right people and in the right way. So in 2016, he rebuilt the software from the ground up because he wanted to build a different language and do a few things differently. So that was our opportunity to kind of rethink a little bit of it and then rebuild it, and that became Listing Near. So we incorporated in May of 2016. At that point, we didn't have any customers, but we put together a website, and we figured, you know, if we can get some traction and some people want to use our software, then we'll keep developing it, and we will, you know, we'll build a team, and we'll figure out how this works. And little did we know that by January of 2017, we had somewhere between 5 and 10 customers. So we were able to hire our first employee, which is especially important to me because it's my sister. So she now works for us full time, and that was a very, very exciting thing to finally be able to pay someone. We weren't paying ourselves yet, but it was fun to, be able to pay someone to help us manage these customers that we were getting. By that point, we had a few connections in the community, not in South Bend, but in the e-commerce community. We have a few connections with an Amazon sellers group now and a couple other things. So we were able to hire her on, and then as of May, and now this is probably even a little bit outdated here, but now we have 5+ employees, including Brian and myself. We have hundreds of customers that pay us a month-to-month subscription for the services that we offer, and we are growing all the time, both in our number of customers and the number of people that we need to hire to handle these customers, which is a very, very exciting problem to have. So that's just a little bit of our story, kind of the more personal side of things. I hope it's inspiring to you. Why Listing Mirror? Why is Listing Mirror important? So if you don't sell online, you may not know that in e-commerce, it's very, very important for sellers to diversify the way that they're selling their products. If you sell your products on Amazon, it's really a great idea to sell them also on eBay, also on Jet.com or Walmart, because you don't know the kind of people that shop on these different sites, and you could reach so many more customers just by expanding the number of marketplaces that you use to sell your products. But having said that, each marketplace has its own complexity. So that means a way a listing is posted on Amazon is completely different than the requirements that eBay has for how their listings have to be set up in order to be viable to go live on their website. We also handle inventory syncing. So inventory syncing is really important because if you only have 10 of this bottle of shampoo, but you want to be able to show that you have 10 bottles of shampoo on all marketplaces, you have to have a software that keeps track of that. Because if you sell one on eBay, who's going to tell Amazon, especially if you're selling quickly? It's just, doing that manually is basically impossible in any sort of volume. So that is something that our software does as well. And then also, there are certain marketplaces that do not have an interface for sellers to go in and create and edit their listings. Prime example of that being Jet.com. Jet.com does not have an interface for their sellers to go in and create listings. So they need a software like ours in order to be able to break into that marketplace. So those are reasons why Listing Mirror is a very valuable tool. So what do we do specifically? We like to call these our 3 pillars. We handle listing data management. So right now our process is that we import Amazon listings that our customers own. We import their listings, we bring them into Listing Mirror, we display them in our software, and then when they click a little plus sign, that allows them to basically recreate that listing in the format of another website, of another channel or marketplace. So recreates the listing in the format that eBay needs in order to list on eBay. And for them, it's just one click of a button. Our software does all of the work for them. Also order fulfillment. So if you haven't used, well, probably you all have used at some point some sort of multi-channel fulfillment service. You may just not have known it. So if you buy things on Amazon, very often that comes directly from an Amazon warehouse, which is called FBA or Fulfillment by Amazon. So one thing that our software allows you to do is to fill certain channels allow for multi-channel fulfillment between marketplaces. So we send an eBay order, for instance. It doesn't work for all marketplaces, but we'll send an eBay order to Amazon Fulfillment Services to fill that order and ship it to the customer. The customer doesn't see it on their side, but it really facilitates, it's very helpful for the ease of the seller. There's also a lot of other multi-channel fulfillment services that are provided through other third-party logistics providers, so also very similar situation, just not through eBay. And then we also handle inventory syncing, which I mentioned before. So inventory syncing specifically is just making sure that the levels of your inventory are accurate between each marketplace. and all that that entails. Who are our target customers? So our target customers are current Amazon sellers. They need to have an Amazon account and need to be fairly established in the e-commerce world, at least on Amazon. Typically, they have between $50,000 and $5 million in monthly sales. And oftentimes, it's very helpful for them to already be selling on multiple marketplaces so that they understand the complexities that go into a software like this, and that they already know what their goals are for using the software. And also, our target customers are people that are in need of inventory syncing software, like I mentioned, why that is so important. Right now, we support these marketplaces, so we support Walmart, Amazon, Jet, eBay, Etsy for people who sell homemade items. ShipStation is our fulfillment integration, and then Shopify, which is like our web store that we support as well. So, Amy told me that I was supposed to ask you guys for some favors. So,
actually, better yet, what can we as a community, one of the things with the 1 million cups that we want to get out there, we want to start the conversation, is something that should come out of every 1 million cup is we want someone in our audience, someone who comes to ask the presenter, what can we as a community do for you? Because that is really important, and they're very well established, they're doing fabulous, and there's always something, some kind of resource or connection that someone could utilize. So I guess I'm asking you at this point,
okay.
What can we as a community do for you?
Well, good thing I thought through this already. I just put together a quick slide, but honestly, the things that I can think of areas that we haven't tapped into, or resources that we're not aware of, or maybe even help that we don't even know we need all the time. Those things are like endless. So I just put on some very key things that would be really helpful. First of all, if you know Amazon sellers, tell them about listing there. If you know people that sell online, specifically people that sell on Amazon, tell them about our software. Get them excited about it. Tell them about the opportunities that they have to expand their marketplace with very, very little work and fairly nominal costs. And we're totally willing to work on customizing our subscription plan to fit exactly what your business needs. We also are in need of an office space. So I started working from 101 Post 3 probably 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. And I've loved it so far. But now I have my employee James. He just started with me this past week. And it's been, we're being fairly productive in here, but it's a little loud sometimes to take phone calls. So as we grow and as we need, we're going to have more need for doing things like training employees and, recording videos for tutorials and things like that. We really do need a private space. And not being super familiar with South Bend and Mishawaka, I don't know what our options are for office space. So that's something specific that I would love to talk to somebody about and see what our options are. Also connect us to software developers and or tech entrepreneurs. So one thing that I know my husband is especially in need of is another software developer. It would be really great if we could find a local software developer that is capable of taking on a task like listing there. He really needs more help, but we just don't know anybody who has what it takes to manage something like this, because it's not like just being a member of a team. You really have to own it. You're not one of 10. You would be one of 2. Or with James and I and my sister Olivia, like there's just 3 of us, and we're managing hundreds of customers. So you can't just come in and clock your hours. We really need somebody who's able to take the vision and run with it and find ways to help us grow and to build what we have, and really to believe in it. And then also, I would love to just meet more of you. I feel like every time I meet a new person, I find out reasons why I needed to know that person and ways that we can help each other, if nothing else, just to be a friendly face. And I feel like I've grown so much in confidence of being a business owner just in joining this space and getting to meet other entrepreneurs and other people who want to support entrepreneurs. So introduce yourself to me today.
Thank you. So we're going to open the floor up for questions and answers for Erin about, herself or company.